why you really started. Well, man, reach out. Burnout is a signal. It's not a failure. Write that down. You have this feeling of like, I can't feel this way. I've got too many people that I need to make sure they're okay. And pastors, listen to this. Are you experiencing constant exhaustion, both physically and mentally? And you actually feel like there's no rest that is going to refresh you. You feel detached from what you're doing, where things used to really excite you. Now it's a burden. Like for example, when preaching used to really excite you, and now you're like, man, I'm just going through the motions. You know, I'm getting on and I'm going on YouTube and I'm just trying to find the best sermon that is out there because I don't have the time or the space to be able to do it. Like I remember feeling that way of just like, man, I am burnt out and I don't like this feeling. And so, pastor, think about this for a second. Business owner, think about this for a second. Are you detached from what you used to love, the things that used to excite you? And maybe even you feel more irritable. Maybe your focus is gone, like you're sitting down to do your job, or maybe you've got appointments with people that are supposed to be meeting with you. Maybe you keep pushing those off over and over and over again, and maybe you're even questioning your call to ministry. And if so, then I want to talk about in a second how you can actually overcome that and how you can work through that, because burnout, it just doesn't show up all of a sudden. It is a buildup over time. It's a combination of overcommitting. It's a combination of not taking the time to recharge. You add in there constantly feeling like you need to prove yourself. Like, pastor, listen to me. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. You are proven. Maybe you need to hear that today. Maybe you're in ministry and you're like, man, I'm just doing all these things and I just can't get off the hamster wheel. Well, here's what I want you to know. You don't have to prove yourself. You are proven. The Lord is already seeing you. The Lord sees you. You are proven. And then you're on this wheel and you just kind of have to keep going and going and going. And then because of that, you lack being able to set boundaries. So, you know, when I say boundaries, you're like, I don't know what that is because I say yes to everything. Yes, I'm saying yes to this and yes to this and yes to this. And that just is going to drain you faster and faster and faster. You know, emotional fatigue is a real factor in this. You're carrying the weight. Man, I know what this is like. You're carrying the weight of so many other people. You feel like you're carrying their responsibilities. You're carrying their pressure. You're carrying all these things on you and you feel like you have to. This happens to a lot of people, but today I want to focus on pastors. I want to focus on you right now because honestly, even when I'm saying this, you have this feeling of like, I can't feel this way. I've got too many people that I need to make sure they're okay. And remember, you don't have to carry anything. You can listen, you can take it, and you can remove it. I meet with people all day long who are struggling in certain areas. And the cool thing is that whenever I meet with them, I don't have to take on their pain and their sadness and their stuff because I know that the Lord is going to do a work in their lives and I can give it to Him. I don't have to take it on. Also, I want to encourage you on setting boundaries. When you can start saying no to things, that's the first thing I want you to think about. If you want to help yourself with burnout, then what is something you can say no to right now? You're like, Michael, I can't. I am literally the custodian. I'm the music pastor. I'm the worship. I preach. I'm the missions person. I do all of these things. And you're like, I can't say no. I can't say no. Here's what I want you to know. You can say no. But what can you say no to? Maybe it's that late night TV show that you're watching to try to turn your brain off and just go numb for a little bit. Maybe it's saying no to that so you can get a little bit more sleep. Maybe it's saying no to the club sports that your kids really want to play in because you don't have the space, the time, or even the money to be able to do that. So I want to encourage you, prioritize what's the most important thing. What is that? And I would write them down, like write down the most important thing versus the not important things that you're doing and start saying no to some of those things, because that boundary right there, especially when you're in ministry, of saying no to people is going to help them to realize, oh, you're a human being and you don't have to answer every single thing that comes to you and you're taking care of yourself. And when you say no to something, let's say somebody's wanting something from you, you can delegate that to somebody else. Say, you know what, Bobby, man, thank you for thinking that I can get this done, but I'm really not the right person, but I know someone who is. Bam. And then you can do that. Maybe you feel like you're overwhelmed in the counseling space. As a pastor, you're like, gosh, I am counseling so many people. Well, you can offload that to somebody. You can offload it to me. You can send me a message and say, man, I've got so many people that I'm meeting with in the counseling space and I just can't do it. Well, that's something that I do. You can offload that to me. Maybe you need to connect into a community. Maybe you're like, man, I'm so alone in this. I don't have anybody. I'm literally sitting here and I feel like I am just drowning and I don't have any community. And it's hard at times for a pastor to have community because we put up these walls because we just think like, man, I gotta stay here and I really can't let people in. And I understand that. And I'm not saying that's an unhealthy thing. Sometimes you have to do that. You can't let your circle be really, really massive. But I've got a community that I would love for you to jump in. It's called the Circle of Hope. Man, you can get in there. You can be you can just hang out. Not many people are going to know you, and you can be cared for in this community. It's absolutely free. The link is in the description. And that's for anybody. Anybody can get in that community, and it's amazing. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I know that is bringing you great value. If you could please subscribe to my channel, man, that would be awesome, because I would love for this video to help more and more people and serve them in whatever way that they need it. And also, if you could hit the bell deal so that you can get notifications whenever I go live. I try to go live once a week or when a new video is posted. So what's another step if you're feeling this just combination of overcommitment, you don't have boundaries, you're just so many things going on. There's weights of other people that are being put on you, all these responsibilities and all these things. So something else you can do is to reconnect with you. So take a step back and remember why you started doing what you're doing. Do you remember that? Do you remember why you started doing what you're doing? I can probably tell you why. Because you love people. And then what happens is, as you start growing and your ministry starts growing and more people start coming, you kind of start taking on this thing and it just builds momentum, and you're like boom, 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 boom. And you forget the reason you got into it. And it's for the people, because you love people. And if you don't remember what that feels like, just pause for a second and remember that, and let God recharge you in that space. And then think of the things that are outside of that lane of you loving on people and being with people, and give those things away. What is that? What are those meetings that you need to cancel? What are those meetings that you can just send an email? What are those different things? Third thing is, man, just take care of yourself. Seek support. Reach out. It's not just rest. Self-care is not just rest. What are some hobbies that you used to love that you don't do anymore? Who is somebody that you can reach out to and talk to? And if you don't know anybody, man, I'm a safe place to go to. You can come and talk to me. I'm not a part of, your denomination. I'm not a part of your conference. I'm not a part of any of that stuff. I'm somebody who by law you can come to. I won't share anything. It's a safe place. I'm a pastor. I've been there. I've been in that space before. I've hit burnout. I've had all the things, and I'm walking on the other side of it, and I'm walking in freedom. And now I'm able to be used by the Lord to free other people. And man, if that's you, or maybe you're listening to this and you're like, man, I think that's my pastor. I think he's really struggling. I think that's my children's minister. I think that's my worship pastor. I think they're really struggling. I think their marriage is like hurting, and they don't want to tell anybody because they feel like they have to have it all together. Well, reach out. Maybe it's not to me, maybe it's somebody else, but please reach out. Don't do it alone, because the enemy would like to take you and suck you in and trap you so that you feel alone. You're not alone. Also hear this. Sometimes burnout can happen, and we start thinking like, man, I want out of the church. I want out of ministry. I don't want to do this anymore. And when you talk to people like, man, like you're so gifted and called in the church and in ministry. Why would you do that? It's because for you think that the church and the ministry is the thing that is actually killing you and making you want to quit. But really, it's the enemy, and it's the busyness, and it's not the boundaries that you're in. And you're not setting boundaries, and you're not reaching out, and you feel alone. You're not alone. The enemy loves isolation. You're working late nights, early mornings, long afternoons. Wednesday comes, you got to have a sermon. Saturday, you got to have a sermon. Sunday, you got to have a sermon, or you got to have a song, or you've got to plan this event, or you've got to do this stuff, and you're just on this hamster wheel, and you forgot why you really started. Well, man, reach out. Burnout is a signal. It's not a failure. Write that down. It's a reminder to you saying, hey, some things need to be fixed. And if you have those lights going on in your dashboard and in your life, the alarm is going off, it's time to take some steps to honor yourself, to honor your needs, so you can move from a place of burnout to renewed energy, to renewed strength, and to renewed walking with the Lord in a whole beautiful way. How do I know? Because I've done it. I walked through it, and I'm on the other side of it, and I take people just like you through it. And I'd be honored to be able to work with you or someone you know that needs some help. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked that video and you're curious, Michael, how can I work with you as a life coach? You can go into the description and click the link, or you can watch this video right here on what a life coach is.